Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Powder. So today I want to talk a little bit about ray tracing or RTX. Now what do you think of when you think of RTX? Maybe you think of those high-end NVIDIA graphics cards, maybe the 2080 Ti or the 1660, and maybe some of those expensive cards don't even do ray tracing that well. Some people are only getting 20 FPS, 30 FPS in some games once they turn ray tracing off. So how are we to expect ray tracing to work on this $200 PC with a $25 CPU and a $100 RTX 570? Well, there's been some breakthrough with some software RTX. Do you remember Crysis? Can it run Crysis? Well, the people who developed Crysis over at Crytek have made a software rendering RTX, which supposedly could run on limited hardware such as what we have here. Today I'm going to check it out and see if it can work, if we can get RTX running on this $200 computer with a $100 R70 GPU, a budget GPU, and a XEON X5670. So let's take a look and see how it runs. Okay, so here it is. This is the Neon Noir benchmark on the X5670 using the RX 570. And I've got it at 1080p, Ray Tracing Ultra, full screen. Let's see how she runs. You can see my last score on there. My score isn't from my capture. My capture does hit the FPS a little bit. So I'll keep the score from the non-captured version, but just to show you what it looks like with the ray tracing. And yeah, you can see the frame rate in the top right hand corner. We don't get much higher than 30 FPS. It is really hard on this CPU, but the ray tracing is set to ultra, and doesn't it look great? Now, all of these reflections are being processed within the game engine, within the Crytek engine, and we're getting a hit, but we're getting some really beautiful graphics here. This is a tech demo. In a real game, it might be able to be tweaked. You could turn down the settings, turn down the quality a little bit to get a little bit more performance out of it. But as a proof of concept, yeah, we can see it clearly working here. And it's really struggling. We're getting 15 FPS here. And it was a little faster without the benchmark running with the screen capture, but not by much. We weren't getting much higher than the late 20s to 30 FPS. And you can see here the screen capture gave a hit, but we've got the original benchmark here, and we can see we got 2650, which is not a great score. Just to put it in context, a GTX 780 can get about 5301 on the score, so not a great performance. I tried to lower the settings to 720 to see if it could increase the score, and it did get closer to 4,962, but it was much the same thing. It didn't get much higher than 30, and it certainly didn't keep the 30 FPS as fluid gameplay. I turned down the ray tracing to very high, and I got a better score, which shows that maybe when this is in game, when games come out with this technology, maybe the next Crisis, we might be able to maybe tweak some things and get a solid 30 FPS, maybe even a little higher. But as a proof of concept, this works and it looks great. Well, unsurprisingly, we weren't able to get a solid 60 FPS. We weren't even able to get a solid 30 FPS out of this. But just to be able to do it, you can see we've got ray tracing on a RX 570, a GPU which before could never hope to achieve anything like this. And this is just a tech demo. Who knows what they could do with games like this in the future? You know, maybe you can play RTX games in the future on one of these budget computers. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you very, very much for watching. Again, please do subscribe. It really helps me out. And be sure to follow me on Tech Powder on Twitter. I put a lot of videos on there, and I put my pictures and things and news and bits and pieces. So be sure to check that out for me. But for today, thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.